Listen to me. I don't come here to beg for respect. I come here to claim it. I don't need to prove who I am. My actions already speak louder than every word, every critic, every headline. I walk into the ring of life with one thing no man can take from me: belief in myself. You can measure my arms, you can measure my speed, you can measure my strength. But what you cannot measure is my heart. And the heart of a champion, that's something no scale can weigh. That's the difference. That's why when I stand, the world shakes. See, champions aren't made when the lights are on. They're made in the dark. They're forged when nobody is watching, when the world is against you, when the whisper, say can't do it, he won't make it. He's not ready. That's where I was born. In doubt, in fire, in pressure. And I rose from it like a storm. I am a risk taker. Because let me tell you, if you're not willing to risk, you'll never taste greatness. Safety won't crown you. Fear won't build you. Only courage will. If you're afraid to fall, you'll never know what it feels like to rise higher than the rest. And oh, the critics, they never stop. They've called me crazy, arrogant, impossible. But when the bell rings, when the fight starts, when the battle begins, then those same voices fall silent. Because the truth is, this my results shut every mouth that ever doubted me. I don't just fight opponents, I fight doubt. I fight fear. I fight every voice that said I couldn't. And every single time I win, I've been tested. I've wrestled storms, I've battled pain, I've stared defeat in the eye. But let me make it clear, nothing can break me. My spirit is iron. My will is fire. My belief is untouchable. You can't hit what you can't catch, and you can't stop what refuses to quit. This is my purpose. Some are born to follow, some are born to watch, but I was born to lead, to fight, to inspire. Every punch I throw is a lesson. Every victory is proof that limits are illusions. When my time is done, I don't want to be remembered for titles or trophies. I want to be remembered as the one who showed the world how far belief can carry you. And let me end with this: I am not here to participate. I am here to dominate. I am not here to survive. I am here to conquer. You can doubt me, you can test me, you can stand against me, but you cannot stop me, because I'm the champion. I'm the king of the ring. And I will always be the greatest. Confidence is not something you borrow, is not something you beg for, and it is not something someone can hand you. Confidence is born the day you decide that nothing, no man, no obstacle, no mountain will ever convince you that you are less than great. I walk with confidence not because someone told me I was special, not because the world rolled out a red carpet for me, but because I decided to believe in myself long before anyone else believed in me. Confidence is a choice, a daily choice. It's the decision to say, I will not bow, I will not break, I will not surrender. Look around this world. Most people wait for permission. They wait for applause. They wait for approval. They wait for the nod that says, yes, now you may believe in yourself. But by the time the world approves of you, it's already too late. The secret is this: you have to approve of yourself first. You have to clap for yourself in an empty room. You have to believe when no one else sees it. When I step into the fight, I'm not waiting for the crowd to cheer. Their noise doesn't win for me. My belief does. Their doubt don't defeat me. My faith shields me. Yeah, that's why I say it over and over. I cannot lose. I do not say it to convince them. I say it to remind myself. Every word is fuel. Every declaration is fire. The world bends to the one who refuses to bend. Confidence isn't arrogance. Arrogance is pretending. Confidence is knowing. It's the calm before the storm, because you already see the outcome in your mind before the world sees it in reality. When I say I will win, it is because in my spirit I have already won. When I say I cannot be stopped, it is because I have already broken through the barriers that stop most men. And I know what you're thinking. But what if I fail? What if I stumble? What if I'm wrong? Let me answer you straight. Failure is not the enemy. Doubt is the enemy. Failure is proof you tried. Failure is the tuition you pay for greatness, but doubt robs you before you ever step into the fight. Doubt defeats you while you're still standing on your feet. That is why I refuse to doubt myself. That is why I speak bold. That is why I live bold. Because I know the mind controls the fight long before the fists do. You see, the world will always try to measure you. Your height, your weight, your background, your resources, your connections. They will look at where you come from and decide where you're going. They will use logic, statistics, and history to predict your future. but confidence laughs at predictions. Confidence tears up the script and writes a new story. When they say you're too small, confidence says you're too fast. When they say you're too slow, confidence says you're too smart. When they say you're too weak, confidence says you're too determined. And when they say it's impossible, confidence says, watch me. That is why I stand tall. That is why I speak loud. That is why I declare my greatness before the fight even begins. Because words shape reality. And if you dare to say it, if you dare to believe it, if you dare to own it with every bone in your body, sooner or later the world has no choice but to agree. Confidence is not a mask you wear for others. It is a mirror you hold up to yourself. It is looking yourself in the eye and saying, no matter what comes, I am enough. No matter what I face, I am ready. No matter who doubts, I will rise. And when you speak that truth into your bones, when you breathe that fire into your soul, something happens. Fear shrinks, doubt weakens, limitations crumble. And you grow, you expand, you walk taller, you strike harder, you dream bigger, because confidence gives birth to action, and action gives birth to results, and results silence every critic that ever dared to whisper against you. I stand as proof, not proof of perfection, but proof of belief. Proof that when you carry unshakable confidence, when you speak victory before the bell rings, when you claim destiny before the battle begins, you become unstoppable. So I do not ask you today to believe in me. I ask you to believe in yourself. Because once you do, the world has no defense against you. Confidence is the beginning, but confidence alone is not enough. Anyone can stand tall for a moment, but a champion is something different. A champion is not just born, a champion is built. Built by discipline, built by sacrifice, built by the mindset that refuses to break when others crumble. The difference between an ordinary fighter and a champion is not just in the fist, not just in the speed, not just in the power, it is in the mind. You see, the body will always follow the mind. When the mind says, I'm tired, the body slows down. When the mind says, I can't, the body falls. But when the mind says, I will, the body has no choice but to obey. That's why champions don't train only muscles. They train mentality. Champions feed their minds with vision. Champions prepare their spirit as much as their strength, because every great battle is won in the head before it's won in the ring, on the field, or in life. The champion's mentality is this: I don't prepare for the easy days. I prepare for the storms. I don't prepare for the applause. I prepare for the silence. I don't prepare for comfort. I prepare for pain. Because a champion knows that glory is forged in the fire of suffering. And whoever can suffer the longest, whoever can endure the most, that is the one who rises. Let me tell you something. Talent is a gift, but mentality is a weapon. Many men have talent, may men have speed, strength, skills, but without the mentality of a champion, and their gift go to waste. Because when fatigue comes knocking, when pressure starts choking, when doubt whispers in the dark, only the champion's mindset will carry you through. The champion wakes up when others stay asleep. The champion runs when others quit. The champion practices not until it's right, but until it cannot go wrong. That's the difference. That's the edge. And make no mistake, the champion's mentality is not about being fearless. No, fear visits every man, but the champion has learned not to let fear sit in the driver's seat. Fear may whisper, but courage speaks louder. Fear may knock, but confidence answers the door. A champion feels fear, but refuses to obey it. A champion's mentality is about focus. Focus so sharp that distractions break against it like waves against a rock. While the world is busy talking, the champion is busy working. While others are chasing recognition, the champion is chasing mastery. The world sees the shine of the medal, but the champion knows it was earned in sweat, blood, and hours nobody else was willing to give. See, ordinary men prepare for the fight, but the champion prepares for victory. Already before the first bell, before the first step, before the first challenge, the champion has declared, "This is mine." That's why the champion walks differently. That's why the champion talks differently, because the mind has already sealed the outcome. The mentality of a champion is not just for the ring. It's for life. It's the student who refuses to quit when failure comes. It's the dreamer who refuses to fold when critics laugh. It's the worker who refuses to stop even when the body ages. That's what makes champions rare. Not their strength, but their mindset. Let me tell you this. The fight is not always against an opponent. Sometimes the fight is against yourself, against laziness, against doubt, against excuses, against the voice inside your head that says, stay down. But the champion's mentality will not allow it. The champion's mentality says, get up, one more round, one more try, one more step. And when you live with that mentality, you cannot be stopped. You may stumble, but you will rise. You may lose a battle, but you will not lose the war. Because champions are not defined by never falling. They are defined by rising every single time they do. So when I say I am a champion, it's not because I hold a belt or a title. Those are symbols. I am a champion because of my mindset. Because I train my thoughts to obey me. Because I teach my spirit to endure. Because I refuse to quit when quitting looks easy. The champion's mentality is what makes the impossible possible. It is what separates legends from the forgotten. And until you learn to think like a champion, you will always fight like the ordinary. He's a champion with confidence, and a strong mentality is powerful. But without courage, without risk, that power never leaves the shadows. You can believe in yourself, you think like a champion, but if you never step into the ring of life, if you never put it all on the line, you'll never taste victory. Let me make this clear, greatness does not come to the cautious. Safety has never crowned a king. Comfort has never built a legend. If you want to rise, you must risk the fall. If you want to win, you must risk the loss. If you want to live, truly live, you must risk everything. Every man is born with fear. Fear was natural. Don't do it. Don't step forward. Stay where it's safe. Stay where it's easy. But courage, that's the answer to fear. Courage doesn't mean the fear is gone. No, courage means you walk forward despite the fear. The champ, courage is the fire that burns the ropes fear tries to tie around your hands. Listen closely, risk is not the enemy. Risk is the bridge between who you are and who you could be. The bridge between ordinary and extraordinary. You can't cross into greatness without it. Think about it. Every champion in history, every person who ever did something remarkable, they all had to take a risk. Risk of being laughed at. Risk of being doubted. Risk of failing in front of the world. But they understood this. The pain of regret is heavier than the pain of failure. You can recover from failure. You can rise after falling. But regret is the wound that never heals. That's why I step into every fight willing to risk it all. Willing to risk my pride, my record, my body. Because if I hold back, if I play it safe, I lose the very thing that makes me a fighter. A champion without courage is just another man in gloves. A dreamer without risk is just another sleeper. And let me tell you this, the world belongs to the risk takers. Always has, always will. The ones who dare to speak when others stay silent. The ones who dare to move when others stand still. The ones who dare to step forward when the ground beneath them is shaking. Yes, risk is scary, but fear and faith cannot live in the same house. If you choose fear, faith moves out. If you choose faith, fear has no home. That's why I choose faith every time. That's why I take risks the world calls crazy. Because I know courage is the key that unlocks destiny. Now some of you, you're holding back. You're waiting for the perfect moment. You're waiting for all the lights to turn green before you start your journey. But hear me, the lights will never all turn green. The perfect moment does not exist. If you wait for it, you'll wait forever. Champions create the moment by stepping forward, by taking the risk. Risk is proof of belief. When I step into the ring, when I face an opponent bigger, stronger, faster, it's not just a fight, it's a declaration. It says, I believe in myself enough to risk everything against anyone. That's courage. That's power. That's why champions shine brighter than the rest. Because let me tell you, you don't inspire the world by playing safe. Nobody remembers the man who never dared. Nobody sings songs about the one who never risked, but the one who gambled everything on a dream. The one who stood when standing meant danger. The one who fought when quitting was easier. That is the one who becomes legend. Risk and courage are not just for fighters. They are for life. To start that business when others tell you you'll fail. To speak your truth when silence would be easier. To love deeply when heartbreak is possible. To rise after losing when the world says stay down. These are the battles of life. These are the risks that shape us. So I say to you, stop fearing the risk. Start fearing a life without it. Stop fearing the fall. Start fearing a life where you never jump. Because risk is not just the price of greatness, it is the path to it. And when you walk that path with courage in your heart, fear has no hold on you. When you risk everything for what you believe, nothing can defeat you. That is the power of risk. That is the strength of courage. And that is the fire that makes a champion untouchable. Now, let's talk about critics. Let's talk about doubters. Because the moment you rise, the moment you dare, the moment you step out of the crowd and declare you are destined for greatness, the critics appear. They come out of the shadows. They come out of the corners. They come out of nowhere ready to tear you down. And you know why? Because your courage exposes their fear. Your risk exposes their comfort. Your confidence shines a light on their insecurity. So they talk, they point, they laugh, they doubt. They say, who does he think he is? Who does she think she is? But listen carefully, critics don't define you. They reveal themselves. Doubters don't limit you. They expose their own limits. Their words are not a mirror of your ability. They are a reflection of their fear. A champion understands this. A champion doesn't run from critics. A champion doesn't hide from doubters. A champion uses them as fuel. Every insult, every doubt, every sneer is gasoline poured on the fire of ambition. While others complain about the noise, I thank the noise. Because without critics, without doubters, where would the hunger come from? Where would the drive be sharpened? When the world said I couldn't, I smiled. When they said I wouldn't, I laughed. And when they said it was impossible, I stepped forward and proved them wrong. Not because I needed to silence them, but because I needed to prove to myself that no voice is louder than my own belief. You see, critics talk from the sidelines because they don't have the courage to step on the field. Doubters whisper from the seats because they're too afraid to face the fight themselves. So instead of risking failure, they attack the one who dares. That's the truth. And here's what I've learned. If you have no critics, you're playing too small. If nobody is doubting you, your dream isn't big enough. If everyone approves of what you're doing, you're not shaking the world. You're blending in with it. And blending in never made history. So I welcome the critics. I welcome the doubters. Let them say I can't. Let them say I won't. Let them bet against me. Because when I win, and I will win, their silence will be my victory parade. Their disbelief will be the soundtrack to my triumph. And make no mistake, they'll try to break you. They'll try to convince you that you're dreaming too big, moving too fast, reaching too high. They'll remind you your failures, of your flaws, of your weaknesses. But that's when you stand taller. That's when you speak louder. That's when you remind them and yourself, I am not defined by what you think of me. I am defined what I believe about myself. Remember this, nobody has ever been remembered for listening to their critics. Nobody has ever built a legacy by obeying their doubters. History doesn't celebrate the voices that said, it can't be done. It celebrates the ones who did it anyway. I use the critics as my chore. Every insult is a note, every doubt is a chord, and together they create the music that drives me forward. When I hear, you're not good enough, I'll show you. When I hear, you can't do it, it becomes, watch me. Their words don't weaken me, they strengthen me. Because here's the truth, the critics don't matter when the bell rings. The doubters don't matter when the lights come on. The only voice that matters is the one inside you, the one that says, stand up, keep going. You are built for this, so let them talk, let them doubt, let them bet against me. Because when the dust settles, when the fight is over, when the history books are written, the critics will be forgotten, and the champion will remain. Critics can talk, doubters can shout, storms can rage. But nothing can defeat a spirit that refuses to break. That is what separates the temporary from the eternal, the ordinary from the extraordinary. The world can take your money, your titles, even your body, but it cannot take your spirit unless you hand it over. The spirit of a champion is iron. The spirit of a champion is fire. It is the one thing no opponent can touch, no critic can pierce, no failure can destroy. And that is why I say over and over again, nothing can stop me. Because you can hurt the body, but you cannot hurt the will. You can slow the step, but you cannot chain the soul. Let me tell you what happens when the spirit is uncheckable. Pain loses power, fear loses its grip, defeat loses its sting. Why? Because the spirit transforms every setback into fuel. The spirit takes every loss and says, good, now I know how to win next time. The spirit takes every scar and says, this is proof I survived. That's why I don't crumble when I'm hit. That's why I don't quit when I'm pushed. because my spirit is stronger than my struggle. And when the spirit is stronger, the struggle becomes nothing but a stepping stone. An unstoppable spirit is not about never falling. No, an unstoppable spirit is about rising every single time you fall. It is about saying, I may bend, but I will not break. I may stumble, but I will not stay down. I may bleed, but I will not quit. That is the heartbeat of a champion. People ask me, where does that strength come from? How do you keep going when everything says stop? And I tell them it comes from vision. It comes from purpose. It comes from knowing deep in my bones that my life is bigger than this moment and this pain, bigger than this fight. When you live with that kind of purpose, you can endure anything. You see, the enemy can punch you, life can hit you, critics can tear at you, but if your spirit stays locked on your purpose, you cannot be defeated, because defeat only happens when you give up. And giving up is a choice I will never make. That's why I fight with joy, even in the struggle. That's why I smile in the storm, because I know nothing lasts forever, not the pain, not the hardship, not the doubt. But the Spirit outlives it all. The Spirit endures. The Spirit stands tall long after the battle is over. And let me remind you, an unstoppable spirit is contagious. When you refuse to quit, you give others permission to keep going. When you rise again and again, you light a fire in others who thought they couldn't. That is the true power of an unstoppable spirit. It not only carries you, it carries everyone who watches you. So when the critics said I was done, I kept standing. When the world said I was finished, I kept fighting. And every time I did, I proved the truth that cannot be denied. The man who refuses to quit cannot be defeated. You can delay him, you can test him, you can even knock him down, but you cannot stop him. The spirit of a champion is a storm that never doubts. It is the fire that never goes out. It is the rhythm in the chest that keeps beating, keeps pushing, keeps rising, no matter what the world throws its way. So let them test me. Let them hit me. Let them doubt me. My body may get tired. My legs may get heavy. My arms may ache. But my spirit is unbreakable. My spirit is untouchable. My spirit is unstoppable. An unstoppable spirit is powerful, but even that power needs direction. Fire without purpose only burns, but fire with purpose lights the world. A champion is not only strong, not only confident, not only courageous. A champion has a reason, purpose. That is the fuel behind every step I take. Purpose is what wakes me before dawn. Purpose is what makes me push past the pain. Purpose is what whispers, keep going, when every muscle in my body begs me to stop. Without purpose, even the strongest spirit grows tired. But with purpose, even the weakest body can achieve the impossible. So let me ask you, why do you fight? Why do you rise every morning? Why do you endure the struggle? If you don't know your why, life will knock you around like a leaf in the wind. But when you know your why, when you know your purpose, nothing can move you. My purpose is bigger than belts, bigger than titles, bigger than applause. Those things fade. Belts get passed on, records get broken, applause dies down. But legacy lives forever. Legacy is when people remember not what you had, but who you were. Not what you won, but what you gave. That is why I fight. I fight to show the world that limits are illusions. I fight to prove that belief is stronger than doubt. I fight to remind every soul out there that they too have greatness inside them if they dare to chase it. My purpose is not just to win fights. It is to inspire fighters, not just to claim victory, but to awaken victory in others. Purpose makes the difference between selfish ambition and lasting impact. A man chasing glory for himself will burn out. But a man driven by purpose cannot be stopped, because his mission is bigger than himself. He's fighting for something eternal. When I'm gone, I don't want people to only say, he was fast, he was great. No, I want them to say, he lifted others. He gave more than he took. He showed us what it meant to believe. That is legacy. Legacy is not about how loud the crowd cheered when you entered. It's about how long your story inspires when you're no longer here. And here's the truth. Everyone has a purpose. Everyone. Yours may not be in the ring, but it might be in the classroom, in your art, in your family, in your community. Don't you dare believe you were put here to simply exist. No, you were put here to make an impact, to leave something behind, to create ripples that last long after your time is done. But legacy requires sacrifice. Legacy requires risk. Legacy requires fighting battles most people will avoid, because only those willing to pay the price will earn the prize of being remembered. Comfort never created a legacy. Playing small never left a mark. Legacy is written by those who dare to give everything to their purpose. And don't misunderstand me. Legacy is not about perfection. It's not about never making mistakes. It's about what you did with those mistakes. It's about how many times you rose after you fell. It's about how you treated people, how you lifted others, how you lived with faith, courage, and generosity. That's why I live the way I do. That's why I fight the way I fight. Because every punch I throw, every word I speak, every stand I take, it's not just for me. It's for the ones who come after me. It's for the ones watching, the ones listening, the ones dreaming. Purpose gives me strength. Legacy gives me reason. And together they give me immortality. Because long after the lights fade, long after the ring is silent, long after my body rests, my spirit will live in the stories, in the lessons, in the inspiration left behind. That is what it means to live for something bigger than yourself. That is what it means to fight with purpose. That is what it means to build a legacy. I have told you about confidence. I have told you about the champion mentality. I have told you about the power of risk, the fuel of critics, the force of an unstoppable, and the fire of purpose. And now I stand before you with this truth. I am the champion. I am the fighter. I am the storm, and nothing can stop me. You see people talk about odds. They talk about chances. They talk about percentages. But odds don't apply to me. Percentages don't define me. Logic doesn't limit me. Because I don't fight with numbers. I fight with belief. I don't fight with doubt. I fight with destiny. When I say I cannot lose, it is not arrogance. It is prophecy. It is faith wrapped in fire. It is the vision inside me that no one else can see. I walk into the ring already victorious because my spirit has declared it. My voice has spoken it. My mind has claimed it. And what I declare, I deliver. Every critic who said I couldn't, watch me. Every doubter who said I wouldn't, watch me. Every opponent who thinks they can, watch me. Because I am not here to survive. I am not here to scrape by. I am not here to just be another name in the record books. I am here to dominate. I am here to conquer. I am here to show the world what greatness looks like when it refuses to bow. You cannot hit what you cannot see. You cannot stop what refuses to quit. You cannot defeat what was born to win. I have been through storms. I have been through fire. I have been through the doubt of others and the pain of trials. And still I write. Still I fight. Still I stand. And every time I stand stronger than before. That is why I speak the way I speak. That is why I declare the way I declare. Because I know the power of words. And I will speak victory until the victory bows before me. So let the world line up its contenders. Let every challenger step forward. Let every critic take their best shot. I will take them all. And I will break them all. Because I am the one. I am the king of this ring. I am the name history will never forget. I am fast. I am sharp. I am powerful. I am unshakable. And I am unstoppable. Every scar on my body is proof of my courage. Every victory is proof of my preparation. Every declaration is proof of my belief. And all together they shout one truth louder than every doubt. I am the greatest. I don't just fight for myself. I fight for every soul who has ever been told they are not enough. I fight for every dreamer who has ever been laughed at. I fight for every believer who has been doubted. When I rise for them. When I win for them. And when I declare I am the greatest, I declare that every person who dares to believe in themselves can be great too. So hear me now. You can doubt me, but you cannot stop me. You can fight me, but you cannot beat me. You can stand against me, but you cannot outlast me. Because I am not just a fighter. I am a movement. I am a storm. I am a force the world cannot contain. And I will not stop. I will not break. I will not bow. I will not lose. I am the champion. I am the king. I am the greatest. And I will prove it again and again until there's no doubt left in the world.